Why? Maybe because of career advancement. I mean, people are so in tune about self-improvement, and being stagnant is just not the place for us.
And exactly, it's the reality of the job market. You know, my dad or my granddad may have stayed with that one company the whole time, and you brand yourself to that job, that role, that is who you are, the value you bring. But now more than ever, you need to get clear on who you are, the value you bring as an individual with or without that job. And when you get clear on that, you're able to go through life and get the roles that you want and grow your career. You can decide to be that person.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about self-improvement and just going to the next level on all sorts of aspects.
Now, let's take a quick poll here. If you're watching this, a show of hands if you think you're going to change your career at least 5 times. Go ahead. Just raise your hand. I see some hands going up here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. How many people we got here? There's more than that. That's right. This is interactive. This isn't TV. It's a workshop. Look at that. 10 people. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Look, the reality is at least 10 people are saying they know they're going to switch jobs at least 5 times. This is something that I started in higher education for 10 years. From there, I worked in the nonprofit sector and served as an education employment specialist working with foster youth, and then started in marketing, launched my own company, and now I'm the digital lead at The Advocate. Who could expect that when I graduated from college? So if you're getting ready to graduate, or you're a current student, or you're currently an entrepreneur, chances are there's some changes on the horizon, and we're going to help you get clear on who you are and the value you bring so you can really brand yourself throughout that journey.
Absolutely, Crystal. It's all about taking ownership on what you want to do in life. And that's exactly what we're bringing this to you. We want you to have that breakthrough, 100%, going deep into it, because that's what it's all about. And this helps empower others around you, makes them better as well. And so we can just not be any more pleased for y'all to be here.
You're giving me chills, Kyle, because look, he has branded himself as a financial specialist. Okay. He's helping people build wealth and financial futures and facilitate breakthroughs. This man right here is on fire. It is an honor to share the stage with you. And he is committed to your breakthrough. Is that right?
Yeah, 110%. I mean, these people who are on this show right now, I mean, they are willing and talented to just go to the next level, and we cannot bring it to them anymore because we have some awesome guests coming up. I mean, Crystal, these people we got coming up it's amazing. But we want to do a little bit of a transition here, right? So we want to.
Yeah, we gotta help them get ready for this. See, if we just gave them Mr. Hunter Follett and we just gave them Robert Royer, they wouldn't be ready for that because they're about to bring it, right? We got.
It's too much. It's too much.
It's too much. You got to get your mind right for this. So let's take them through a little exercise, shall we?
Yes, I love it for sure.
Okay, so let's do this. If you want to get clear on the brand you bring, let's do a little exercise. And we're going to answer 3 questions. Kyle, what's the first question?
So what do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room?
Oh, let's start the timer on that. Let's give you a good 60 seconds. Anybody here not for a breakthrough? They just came here because they wanted to kill an hour? No, we're all here for a breakthrough. Get your pen and paper out. That's what I'm talking about. Take time, write it down, and have a breakthrough. What do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? Ooh, see, for me, I want people to say that I'm charismatic, that I inspire people, that I make this world a better place, that they're grateful that I'm in the room, that I make things better. Like that is a core value of helping people. Kyle, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely think honesty, like that's one of my top things, and just being honest with people and upfront about everything, in particular, so that they can be transparent and I can be transparent with them on both stages of life. And so, but I want y'all to write down everything because that's going to clear your mind up, and it's just going to clear and just widen and make it more powerful. I mean, writing it down just brings a sense of relief from your brain, so you don't remember everything, and it creates organizational skills that we all just need to always sharpen on.
That's what I'm talking about. I got about 20 seconds left on this. So please, if you have not already wrote something down, please write something down. I see Mr. Hunter Follett, our actual host, or excuse me, our interviewer on the stage with us today. He says, I want people to say that I'm authentic, interesting, and deeply curious. I would absolutely say that about you. I see James here says, I want them to say that they trust, that I care about them, their lives, their families, their careers, and contributed to it mightily. Ooh, that sounds like the sound of success.
Yes.
And created meeting notes for this meeting. All right. So again, if you're here for credit, make sure you write this down. I'm sure your teacher's going to ask about it. But more than credit, do it for yourself. If you're hungry for a breakthrough, that's why you showed up. Take the time. One more here. So James says, I want them to say that they trust, that I care about them, their lives, their family. Here we go. Okay, Kayla, special shout out. Thank you. She says she is authentic as they get and is open to criticism. Oh, look at that. I love it. Okay,
Love the
so
feedback.
right, thank you. Please keep chatting with us. This is interactive. All right. One more, why not? Valencia, positive, out of the box, easy going. Ooh, I like your style. All right, second question of the day here. What's the second question, Kyle?
So what do you think people will say about you? I mean, this is where it's all about refining, right? You know what you want them to say. So now let's refine and sharpen that knife, if you will, to where you can just really refine it and make that into what people will say.
You know, seriously, you got to look in the mirror sometimes, right? And so I just started the clock. So take the 60 seconds to look in the mirror right now. And what do you think they would actually say? If they were all having a powwow and they said, you know what, that Crystal, you know, that Kyle, that Hunter, you know, he really what? What is the word? And really be honest with yourself. What do you think people would say about you? And this may be a little different than what you actually want them to say. We're going to get to that, but be honest with yourself. You may not want to chat it in the box, but you may as well. So please, we encourage the participation.
And Crystal, also, I think this is about sharing your goals and inspirations with others and people you hold dear to, because they hold you accountable and they know that determination. And when you slip, they will bring you back up.
And there's power in declaration, right? If you sit there quietly and you go through this and you don't actually share it, sometimes you don't actually know what people would say. And I'll just share, I'll give you a little piece. So that was the sound of success. So we're moving forward. But mine, I was told, Kyle, believe it or not, that I'm domineering. Me, little me, I'm so nice. But apparently I get carried away and my passion makes people feel like they can't share. So I gotta be aware of that and own that at times people could think I'm domineering. Hunter says he's crazy in a good way. He lives life to the fullest. I would absolutely say that about you as well. I do really respect that about you. Kayla says she cares about the underserved in our community and passionate about serving others. Yes, that is true. Thank you. That is what I want people to say too. Troy, what's Troy saying over there? You got the chat open?
Yes, absolutely. Where's Troy here? I think they'd say I'm open-minded and that I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind.
Oh,
Yes, for
that
sure.
is so good. Yes. Is it ethical to gossip about people? Ooh, now we're not saying that you should go and talk about people, but we're just saying what is the impression that you would get? And nobody's telling me what this is, so I'm going to do. So yes, so again, if you're just getting here, we're on a breakthrough path and we're about to reconcile it with a third question. But leading into that, let's recap what we've done already. All right, Kyle. So question one, what do we ask him?
Yeah, what do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? That's such a powerful question, Crystal. I mean, from all aspects.
And question two?
What do you think people will say about you?
Truth. And question three
And
is,
so we're going
are
to
you
wrap that
living?
up.
Yep, are you living the life you want? What do you need to do to reconcile the two? Right, I'm starting a timer on this one. This you may need to journal about later, call a counselor, I don't know, phone a friend, call your mom. But this, you got to get real at this point and figure out, are you on track to live the life you're destined to live? Are you being the person you want people to see you as? What do you get out of this question, Kyle?
I mean, 100%. I mean, that's where we take back the first and second questions and we try to make those two intersect. And right, and so we want them to meet up. And you know, this is when you become clear. You become clear about your path, your journey. And when you do that, I mean, you turn rejection into redirection, because you are not, overcome by this anxiety that maybe affects other people, because you turn that anxiety into opportunities to just continue along that successful journey that we all know you're powerful for.
That is so good. And we're almost at time here for this one. But look, I'm gonna put on my serious face. This is my serious face. You're doing this, right? You're taking the time, right? You care about yourself enough, right? Do it for your mama. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for somebody. But take the time to reconcile, to get ready, because you're about to hear a story of a man who was not living the life that he wanted to live. He thought he was. He was online with his goals and what he thought he wanted. But when he had to look in the mirror, he had to redefine what he wanted people to say about him. And it changed the entire trajectory of his life. So Hunter, who's on screen with us, is going to take us through that breakthrough with Miss Stephanie. They're going to go through and share this story, but you need to find this threshold right now in your life. And so Valencia says, I'm living a good life with my passion. I'm doing what the universe has created me to do. That's what I'm talking about. Look, when you can go to bed with that on your heart, that is a life fulfilled. So I applaud what you're doing, Miss Kayla. May you inspire those around you to also find that joy. I hope from this exercise you were able to get clear. What are they getting clear on, Kyle?
Just the clear about who they want to become, right? They know it's deep inside of them. It's in them, and it's just bringing it out, being open-minded and clear-minded about where you want to go and how to inspire others.
Oh man, I really do. And that is my hope for you. So if you're watching this, how many people we got? We got a lot of people today. Let's see here. 48 currently in the meeting. So if you're one of the 48 people on this meeting, I just want to say I personally hope you just got clear on how to live an incredible life. And maybe you say, but how? How do I do it? Now, guess what? You're about to find out from one person's story, a UHV alum. I'm not stealing the thunder here, but I just want to say, get ready, because you're going to be blown away by this man's story and how he decided who he was going to be and what kind of life he was going to live by asking himself these 3 questions. So without further ado, the one, the only, we're going to hand it over for the main event for a host with the most, Dr. D, bring it. Are you going to bring it for us?
I'm the host with the most. Y'all, this is what's amazing, because I'm never scared what people say about me out of the room, because they say it to my face. I tell them, say it to my face, and that's what's so great about this. As we do this exercise, y'all, I was a paramedic for years, and I realized whenever I wasn't living my life that I wanted to go on and I wanted to do more. And that's why I came back to the academy. And that's why I started doing it. Y'all, we'd like to thank the School of Business Administration, especially Dean Caldwell and Rosie McCuskey, who have made this thing possible, the Bridge Builder Planner. And also we have our faculty from the communication department at the School of Arts and Sciences. These are the big people who have made this possible for you. And the thing is, without this, we can't make it without you. So we're going to turn this over to Hunter. We're going to turn it over to Stephanie, and they are going to talk to you and bring you some amazing things as we talk to our guest, Robert Royer. Hunter, Stephanie, the stage is yours.
Aaron, thanks so much. Guys, I am fired up. I obviously, it's hard not to get fired up watching Crystal and Kyle and Aaron tee up, but I'm fired up to be here with a good friend of mine and UHV alumnus, Robert Royer. You know, Robert has got a really interesting story to tell you guys today. And he also, I think, has, and this is what I want you to pay attention to, he's got a specific tool, a tool that you can use to rebrand yourself if you want, if the brand you have today is not getting you where you want to go. So with that,
absolutely.
Robert, do you want to go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself? Kind of start at the beginning. You know, at first your dad saw your mom and there was a twinkle in his eye. What happened next?
Yeah, Hunter, Stephanie, thanks so much for having me. So let's go way back. I was born in Houston. I went to school in Sugar Land, right? My father, when I was 4 years old, had a brain seizure right in front of me while he was bathing my sister and I, and he passed away. So I was raised with 4 sisters and a mother who never remarried. I literally became man of the house at 4 years old. And so this led me into a life of adversity, and I just really struggled to find my purpose and figure out where my fit was, right? And so I got involved with the wrong crowd as an early teen. My life started heading down this downhill slope. And I landed on the other side of the law in my early adulthood, you know, and my family was beginning to just lose hope in me. What's going on with this guy, right? So I had been in the restaurant industry since 15. I found a knack in the industry. I was pretty good at it. I was quickly gaining leadership roles at every job I'd go to, but I just didn't quite love what I was doing. And I had also simultaneously created this, wait for it, Hunter, I know you know, Stephanie, I know you know, I created this passion for hip hop. You know, I was going to be a famous hip hop artist. It started shifting from just a hobby to a career after school, but I still just couldn't quite define my purpose and figure out what my purpose was in life.
All right, Robert, let me pause you here because I think this is it's such a relatable time. In fact, because this raising hand thing works pretty well. And by the way, if you don't know how to raise your hand in here, it should be on the bottom of your screen. The little hand, raise your hand. That's how we can do participation.
Or at the top, or at the top of the screen.
Yeah, it could potentially be at the top. I don't know, Mac users. Robert, I guess for the audience as we're raising hands, has any of the audience ever faced any adversity in their life? Anybody ever struggle? Robert, I see your father died when you were young. You got on the wrong side of the law. I think you know well that I'm just by sheer luck did I not get on the wrong side of the law myself. So Robert, I guess during this time, how are people seeing you? I mean, you're the second. Are they seeing you as the second coming of Eminem, or is it what would people say about you during this time?
So it really depends who you ask at this time. So they might have been seeing me as this cool guy who's rapping, and making some good music, but let me back up a step, Hunter, and lead you through the next step. So at 22, I get a call from my girlfriend of 3 months, and she says, "Hey, I'm pregnant. We've been together 3 months, now everything changes in the drop of a dime, right? So I have to make some quick decisions. And that's when I make the decision to come to Victoria, specifically to attend UHV. And that's when I'm working at Olive Garden. I'm going to school full time and supporting a family of 3. And so I don't know, I think people think that I'm this cool guy, but inside I'm not really believing in myself. And so the pressure of trying to provide for this family, and I'm just financially strapped, I'm serving tables, I got a flailing hip hop career, and it gets to me and I just can't take it anymore, man. So I'm doing shows on the weekend, going across Texas, going to Louisiana, performing, coming home. I have almost nothing in my pocket. I have no money. I'm struggling to get by, so the pressure just gets to me, right? My girlfriend and I break up.
Yeah, Robert, during this time, what are you saying to yourself? What are the words you're using with yourself?
So I'm starting to question, what is my purpose? What purpose am I serving here? How am I going to get to that next level? How am I going to stop being broke? How am I going to start, frankly, how am I going to get money? How am I going to get to that next step?
Robert,
so you would
was this a turning point for you?
You would think so, right? It's getting close to a turning point. So my girlfriend and I break up when the pressure gets to me. I move out. Now I'm living on friends of mine couches, kind of couch hopping. I'm literally showering at the VC gym every day, so I don't stink when I go into Olive Garden and serve tables. I'm trying to find quarters in my car just to get a burger from McDonald's, or better yet, to give my own son a burger from McDonald's. And I'm going to class, and these people have no idea what's going on with me. I just keep it to myself. They have no idea that, hey, I just showered in the VC gym today, and I'm just keep pushing until I get my degree. I keep convincing myself that once I get my degree, everything's going to get better. So keep pushing. And so I'm getting close to that turning point. And so at 25, I graduate with my bachelor's degree. And, Hunter, Stephanie, we've talked about this before, right? So I graduate and I'm like, awesome. I got there. I graduated. Everything is good to go. I'm about to live the high life. Like, this is going to be awesome. And so I graduate, and the next day I wake up and I'm like, nothing changed. I have my degree now, which is great, but I didn't put in any of the work to cultivate any change immediately after that degree. So I'm getting closer to the breakthrough, right? But it's not here. I have my degree, which was supposed to be the breakthrough.
Yeah, Robert, what would it be like if we just ended this interview right here? This is it. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it.
Got the degree. Yeah, done.
No, but I think if you're paying attention, hopefully you can see you can see a bit of, some of you may be able to see a bit of yourself here, right? I mean, I'm sure some people here maybe have had privileged lives, but I think a lot of us probably had to work in a restaurant at some point. Probably had to dig for change. And what we're about to get to, I think, is interesting. People change for two reasons. They either change because they have something so attractive ahead of them that they realize that in order to be that, they have to make a change. Or they're in so much pain from their circumstance and from the decisions that they've made up until that point that they say, I can't live like that another day. I got to make a change. And sometimes it's a combination of both. You say, I can't live like that, and look at what I could do. And so, Robert, I guess what gets you to that final precipice? What makes you finally say, you know what, we got to take a different direction here?
Yeah, so I'm getting close, right? I graduate. I'm like, okay, here's the next step. Here it comes. I get recruited by the Victoria Advocate. I start a brand new industry in marketing, starting from the bottom of an organizational structure again. No more management, right? But now I'm selling newspaper ads. I'm selling newspaper ads, and I'm like, okay, this is great. It's in my degree field, I guess. But I'm still really not happy with what I'm doing. But I've come to this realization one day. I don't even know the day. I come to a realization that I love this idea side of this marketing business, and I'm pretty good at talking to people, right? So something drastic needs to change immediately. I have to make like a clear-cut decision. And so this is when I decided I need to brand myself. I have to figure out how to brand myself where people want to work with me. And so that leads me into this process, right? Like you talk about, Hunter. We had to burn the boats.
Yeah, I'll tell that story real quick because I think everyone's heard the saying "burn the boats," but maybe you don't know what it is.
Let's talk about that.
It has to do with the North Island and the South Island of New Zealand. You see, the inhabitants of the South Island had been constantly attacked by the inhabitants of the North Island, and they hadn't done anything. They had been, had been subject to raids and pillaging of their lands. And by the way, this is the story, not the history, so bear with me. And at some point in time, the leaders of the South Island said, you know what, we can't do this anymore. They had their breakthrough moment, and they sailed up to the North Island. And when they got there, the leaders turned to the team and said, all right, guys, we either need to take this, we need to take this land at all costs. We need to win this battle at all costs. In fact, they were so committed to it, they said, we're going to burn the boats so that we have no way to get back unless we win and have enough time to rebuild boats. And so, Robert, I guess the question for you is that how you felt? What was the first thing that happened? Did you when you decided here? Were you tentative about it, or were you definitive?
So it was definitive. Literally overnight, I decided something drastic has to change if I want to reach this next step. Because I got my degree now, I got a career, I got a job, I got benefits and all that, but I'm still not feeling my purpose, right? And so I decide, hey, I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to reinvent myself entirely. I'm still going to be the same person. I'm going to be Robert Royer, but anyone can reinvent themselves at any point in their life. And I know that I needed more and I needed to be better. So I'm thinking about how most of us are going to change employers, in the context of today's economy, like Crystal and Kyle were talking about earlier. And so I realized, I have to make this decision where I have to focus on the importance of building my personal brand. I have to start develop this personal brand that people want to work with, because great successes have been reached simply through great relationship building. And so I can go two ways here, right? I can be the stinky homeless rapper serving tables, and looking for quarters in the car, or I can be the guy when it comes to marketing. Just like everyone has a guy or gal when it comes to every, area of specialty, I can be the person that people want to lead them and people want to work with when it comes to this marketing stuff, right? So I asked myself those questions Crystal and Kyle were talking about earlier. What do people want to say? What are people going to say about me when I'm not in the room? And more importantly to me, because I'm a dad, is what are people going to say to my children about me?
So you make the decision to reinvent yourself, and you ask yourself, who do I want to be, and what process do you undertake now? So again, we're all there, right? I hope everyone in this room has some part of their world where they say, you know what, I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to be like, in order to get where I want to go, I gotta do this. But how do I do it, Robert?
Yeah, so I made the decision, right? That was the first step. Now I need to create this compelling vision of what's to come, and finally create a compelling vision of what's important to me. You know, around this point, I realized not only do I want to be a leader, but I want to be an entrepreneur for sure. I want to be a thought leader. I want to be the best at what I do. And so I start to kind of think, what is my next steps? And so I start to assess my strengths and weaknesses. I needed to really define in one sentence, what's my purpose as a leader? What tools do I have in order to do this? And how am I going to achieve this? And so I started thinking, well, branding shouldn't be too self-focused. You know, I have to build this personal brand that's relatable and desired with the possibility of being a team player. So, and companies want me, you know, I had to ask myself, why would a business care about me? Why would they want to employ me? Why would they want to work with me? So I come back to this thing that I learned in school, believe that, you know, and so now I'm using my degree, right? This SWOT analysis, you know, has anyone ever heard about a SWOT analysis? SWOT. So it stands for your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So I'm building this quadrant, each quadrant, one with my strengths, one with my weaknesses, one with my opportunities, one with my threats. And I'm trying to get clarity on what my personal brand is. So I think, what talents make me uniquely suited to build this new brand and be a better leader? So I start to think about some of my positives. You know, I remember my college counselor told me, hey, Robert, you might want to rethink a finance major. This is when I changed to marketing. They said, because you can talk to a brick wall, you know? And so I realized, okay, I'm pretty good at talking to people, you know? And I always have a positive tone. So, okay, that's another, I'm a pretty positive guy. So that's another notch I could put up. I want to get involved in the community. I'm actively seeking to get involved in the community. I'm an active listener. So these are a couple strengths that I'm identifying. And then I'm starting to look at the weaknesses, you know? And I realize, hey, I have a big problem maintaining a work-life balance. I don't know that I've ever really truly improved this, but I you know, I got to learn how to say no to outcomes that I don't have the bandwidth for. I have to become a better listener, you know, in some ways, to become a better leader. I may think I'm a good listener, but I may not always listen to the problems of the people I'm trying to lead. And so I get down here into the bottom quadrant with the opportunities and threats. And I realize my big threat in this industry here in the Victoria, Texas market, and the Crossroads market, is there's a lot of competition in the marketing world. And at this time, I'm getting into the agency business, the advertising agency business, with the Victoria Advocate, with their agency. And I realize there's a lot of competition, but I look at my opportunities and my potential opportunities, and I realize out of a lot of that competition, there's not a lot of Google certified Google specialist people who specialize at getting websites to the top of Google, which is incredibly important in these days, especially with smartphones. And so that's when I realized, oh, I'm going to go get these Google certifications. You know, that's a huge opportunity for me. I'm going to go get Google certified in search, display, and mobile. And that could be a key differentiation that I offer that not everybody else offers. And then actually,
let me stop for a second, because I love what you did, right? I love what you're doing. You're going through your strengths. You're looking at your weaknesses and your threats. And in some cases, what you're doing is you're actually taking your weaknesses and making them into opportunities, right? What you just said was great. You said, I didn't have a Google certification. I realized nobody had a Google certification. I'm going to go get that certification. You know, the other thing that it seems like you're doing here, and this is kind of during that, you know, I don't know if anybody saw the visual on this, but the DAD process, which I think is just hysterical. But, you know, you're doing this assessment. You're assessing what talents you have. You're assessing the tools. You're looking around and saying, I got this tool over here. I know how to do this. And I can go get this tool, this Google certification, fairly easily. But what you're not hearing, and this is what I want to emphasize to the listeners today, what you're definitely not hearing is Robert saying, I need to go be somebody I'm not. He's not saying, I need to go change who I am. When he says reinvent himself, and I know this because Rob and I have talked about this at length, what he's actually saying is he needs to basically discover the parts of himself, the strengths and the opportunities that he has that are going to help him to get where he needs to go. And that's categorically different from saying, I need to go become this person I'm not. So we're through the first two parts of this, right? He decided, he burned the frickin' boats. He said, I'm going to take this island. I don't care what happens, right? And he made the decision. He had enough pain and enough opportunity to do it. Then he goes through a SWOT analysis. He says, here's my strengths. here's the opportunities I have, and here's some threats that I have. Nobody's got the certification. Let me make that into an opportunity. Let's make that a differentiator for myself. Now, Robert, what happens next?
Yeah, so absolutely, Hunter. I didn't want to change myself. I'm leveraging those strong suits and trying to be better in those areas, and actually, when I started my business, I performed that same SWOT analysis for my business. And I realized that, hey, I could turn some of these competitors into actual clients, and I start moving them over by performing white label agency work for them. And that's what leads me to my next step. So now I'm figuring out, okay, I'm starting my own business. I'm really starting to love what I do. And that's when I just start doing it. I define my value proposition. What's a good leader? How am I going to get there? And I make a commitment to myself, Hunter. It's all about the dad, right? I'm going to rid my legacy of chance. I'm going to define my legacy for what my children are going to hear. I'm not going to leave it up to chance. And so now I start performing the dad process. I've made the decision. I've assessed my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities and threats. And now I'm doing it. I'm defining my path on how I'm going to achieve my goal of being a great leader. I had to start walking the walk and stop talking the talk. After leader positions with the newspaper and other agencies and director positions, I go out on my own. I start building brands marketing and go out on my own business. And this is when everything's starting to change. I'm starting to realize this is my purpose. This is my personal brand. People are starting to say, hey, call Robert Royer, call Building Brands Marketing, if you need some marketing help. And I'm realizing, hey, I really am starting to build this thing I was searching for 5 years ago, when I was working at Olive Garden and showering at the VC gym.
Man, and again, I like how you just kind of, I don't know, again, anybody who wasn't paying close attention, Robert just casually mentioned that he went and started his own company, where he has become, and I know this because I'm a client of Robert's. He is not kind of the best in the business. He is genuinely the best in the business at digital marketing, and I don't want to say the guy works hard. He's indefatigable, which means the guy just can't stop working for you. And again, he took that. Again, he called that a weakness. He doesn't have a good work-life balance. He takes that and makes it into an opportunity, which I love. Now, Robert, I just want to talk a little bit. You made the decision, you made the transformation, you decided you're going to embrace your strengths. You're an incredible communicator. You're involved in the community. You've got deep relationships in the community. Now, what has this done for you? Again, I've known you through part of this period. You smile a lot more. I could say that. But what else has this done for you personally? What has it done for your clients? What have been the results here?
Yeah. So for starters, I'm not sleeping on somebody's couch. I'm not showering in the VC gym anymore. I'm actually surviving without the everyday worries of, where am I going to get my next meal for me, or let alone my children, And with hard work, a lot of hard work, I've been able to build this successful business where there's no chance I could have pulled this off 5 years ago. It wasn't even an option, until I got pushed to that point where I felt like, hey, I've built my brand to the point where I'm ready to take this leap. And so from a personal level, that's where it's helped a lot. Right. But also I've been able to hire employees. We have multiple employees. I filled the gaps of my weaknesses that I identified way back when in that SWOT analysis. This allowed me to create jobs in the community that I love and I serve, and train people to go on to better opportunities, hopefully. And I've been able to show my children what it feels like to have others rely on you for their livelihood, and the gratification that it takes of building a team and that family, that camaraderie that we experience. And then from a business standpoint with the clients that I work with, now this is truly the first time in my life at this point, once I'm out on my own, that I realize I'm no longer working a job. I'm in a career. I remember, I'll tell you a quick 30-second story. I remember at the end of my first year, I'm talking with a family-owned business here locally, and we've increased the sales through our collaboration together by 6 figures year over year. And I'm really realizing the impact that it had on their livelihood. I'm like, this has changed these people's lives. And that's when I realized, I'm literally getting goosebumps, talking to them. And I'm like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. This is the very moment, I can picture it in that office right now. That was the very moment that I realized I had defined my value proposition and what my personal brand was going to contribute to society.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of, Robert, as I've always been taught, and this is maybe just conventional wisdom, but I've been taught that the dad process takes 9 months. Now, I mean, news is that it's actually 10 months, but again, it's maybe a technicality. It seems like it actually took you maybe a couple of years from the time that you sort of got the job at the newspaper, the time that you really had the breakthrough of this is the brand, this is who I'm going to be. Does it, how does it, is it always going to take 9 months? Does it always take 3 or 4 years? What's the reality there?
Not at all. If you're not as hard-headed and stubborn as me, it could be done in a lot shorter time frame. It literally could be done overnight. I'm a hard-headed guy. This, Hunter. And I had to keep learning from my own mistakes and just had to kind of go with the flow and figure it out as I went. And that's what took me so long. But the reality is, this could be done overnight if somebody just made the decision today that they want to go ahead and reinvent themselves. They're not changing as an individual. They're building their personal brand. They're figuring out their strongest suits and they're leveraging those assets. They're gonna go ahead and make that assessment of what are those strong suits and then go ahead and do it. That could be done in a 24-hour time frame, and then you spend the next couple of years of your life doing it.
I love it. Yeah,
I have to ask. Robert, I have to ask you, so you mentioned, assessing your weaknesses and strengths and creating your personal brand. So you obviously are young. I mean, you're relatively young comparatively in your career. How do you think that your personal brand convinced people to rally behind you, not just those that work with you, but like also your clients and everyone in the community?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is authenticity, relatability, and just being very personal in what you do, taking it personally. Like if my client has a bad sales month, that hits me in the gut. You know what I mean? I'm figuring out, I take it personally. This is a problem for me. Like, that's my own checking account. If they had a bad sales month, let's figure out how we can problem solve. Let's work together on this. Let's collaborate together. I never, want to give someone the impression that hey, I'm this magic wand. Let's collaborate together and let's figure out how we can work on this together. The same way you would with a brother, a sister, a coworker, an employee, a colleague, and so I think that it really just came down to just taking it personally and just caring, truthfully.
That's great.
So hold on here. I like what we're talking about because this DAD process, decide, assess, and do. I love do because it means you got to actually do something. But I know, Hunter, sorry, I'll cut you off. Hunter, I know you're going to ask him, what does all this mean? And, like what happened? What has happened to you? You've said it kind of, but what's kind of the ripple effect? What's really happening because of your decisions, your assessment, and your doing?
Well, now I'm starting to figure out what my version of success is, and I'm starting to really live that success. And hey, like I said, I'm no longer broke. I'm creating these opportunities in the community. I'm really getting the gratification of working with these people and benefiting their business. And I'm starting to really feel that, hey, I found my purpose in life, and the ripple effect is now my kids are happier. They're not struggling financially. I mean, my son, he's 8 years old now. He grew up very rough the first couple of years, and now we just moved into a new house this year, and he was like walking in the house. It's not an upper echelon house, and he's like, I'm rich, and I'm like, no, you just have a sidewalk for the first time in your life, like we're not rich by any means, it's a 2-bedroom house, but anyway, so he, everybody around me, I feel like, is starting to really feed off that energy because I'm a better person, I'm a happier person, my kids are happier, coworkers are happier. Everybody, and what's happening also is everybody starts to rally behind you because they can see the happiness and the gratification with what you're doing. And so they don't want to see you fail. They're willing to boost you up. I mean, I've walked into my office on a Friday night and there's two employees sitting in here. They're working at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. I didn't even know they were here. And they were like, Robert, we got to get this thing done. This is due next Monday, And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, these people are on my team. This is awesome,
That's awesome. And by the way, that's also, I think it's indicative of the leadership that's how the team works. And having worked with your team, I can reinforce that. Robert, I guess if you could leave here and everybody had one thing just tattooed on their heart, one lesson you got across the table today that people for the listeners, what would it be? Oh,
that's such a good question, Hunter. So I'm going to say 3 words that I actually got, believe it or not, from you at one point in my life, Hunter. Own your outcome. Own your outcome. Adversity, you know, I faced a little bit of adversity. Yeah, people have been through worse. It can be used as a crutch for brand building. Relationship building is everything. You know, never burn a bridge. You never know what relationship will become your next opportunity. And we control our future. So let's all intentionally build that brand and own that outcome.
That's so important, Robert. Well, thank you so much, guys. Again, just to recap, what we're hoping you get out of this. The whole reason that Robert and I are taking our time here today is because we have this tool that we have to use. We've used multiple times in our career, and I wish somebody had told me when I was 20. Right? Is that you have the ability, every single one of us, and you already know this, by the way. Everybody that is listening here knows that they can call upon different versions of themselves, right? You're not the same way with your significant other as you are if you're trying to interview somebody, as you are if you're there's a fire in a theater. You're going to call upon a different version of yourself if there's a fire in a theater versus if you're trying to convince somebody to go on a date with you. Right. And what Robert did here is he identified the part of himself that was necessary for him to get to where he needed to be. And he called upon that version of himself and lived it day in and day out. And we're hoping that really through that process of the first thing you got to do is decide, I'm taking this island, I'm burning the boats, there's no retreat. The second thing you got to do is evaluate, what talents do I already have? What relationships do I have? And then what opportunities exist? Where can I go pick up some external accreditation? And then finally, do relentlessly. You know, don't accept it until you're done, because that's how you'll reap the rewards. That's how that's how Robert went from being a stinky rapper living out of his car. Nothing wrong with rapping living out of your car, or there is something wrong with smelling bad. There's not going to be PC there, but that's how he went from there to. I mean, he is just generally a beacon in our community. I'm not sure if maybe Aaron's going to actually do our bios after we finish, but he's a leader in the community. He's a leader in his business, and he's an incredible friend. I think that may be my shot clock. So with that, Robert, thank you so much. I'm going to turn it back to, I think, Aaron, and if it's not Aaron, he'll do a pleasant segue into whoever's supposed to be talking.
I'll tell you, this is amazing. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Stephanie. Y'all have been amazing. And it's the things that, we think about that we create, and there's many reasons why we want to change. And then, Robert said it. He said, decide, assess, do these things. And then his kid has a sidewalk. I like that. I want a sidewalk. You want a sidewalk. Who wants a sidewalk? You could come through here. Thank you. So who wants a sidewalk? Kyle? Crystal, do you want a sidewalk? Maybe not. I don't
Absolutely, Dr. D.
As a person who just moved into a nice neighborhood, I'm a proud person who has a sidewalk. Let me tell you, my puppy loves it. Life is good. That was incredible. Robert, thank you so much. Hunter, you have been able to do so much with the community through Tejas Productions, through your work and all of your many facets. This was an exceptional ability or exceptional opportunity to share your abilities with our community and really just going hard, getting the insights, pushing for the breakthrough. Like, you just really brought it. Thank you so much. And Stephanie's like, but seriously though, we need to know, right? So thank you to our dynamic team for interviewing. This has been such a gift, and shout out to Dr. D, right? He's putting together the slides, he's doing the music, he's doing the transitions, he's giving the shout outs. So special shout out to him. But we're not done yet. We're not about to walk out of here without making sure that you apply the DAD method for yourself. Kyle, why is it important to take action right now?
I mean, you've got to. I mean, that's the only chance you got. You just burn the boats. I mean, you've got to go forward. This is what it's all about. Robert, Hunter, Stephanie, y'all are awesome. I mean, that interview was incredible. Thank y'all so much, Robert, for being transparent with everybody and just opening up and talking about how adversity just changed to opportunities for you. It's amazing. And your many breakthroughs that just helped you gain momentum for your clear vision.
Absolutely, Robert. My takeaway from our time and being here with you is intentional. Be intentional in the life you want to live. Be intentional with how you're being seen in this world. Be intentional with how you interact with others. Be intentional. Take accountability and own the direction of your life and be intentional. I can't emphasize that enough. Branding yourself is being intentional. Branding yourself is living an intentional life. Branding yourself is taking control of your life. And there's 3 steps like we learn how to do it. You're going to decide who you want to become. You're going to assess what strengths you have, AKA why a client or an employer would care. And then you're going to do it. And that is, how are you going to actually take action every day to become that person that you've decided you're going to be?
Absolutely. So, Crystal, I've got to ask, though. I got to ask Stephanie one question. I really do. And so, Stephanie, I got to ask you, how does personal branding fit with your work you do as a student director, helping students prepare for their next career move?
Kyle, that's a fantastic question. So at Career Services, we want our students to be prepared to enter the workforce, and that includes being conscious of their personal branding. Wouldn't you agree, Kyle, and everyone, that you only get one opportunity to make an impression with a potential employer?
Stephanie, absolutely.
Yeah, and that could be anywhere, a career fair, a social mixer, and especially during an interview. Taking the time now to create a short, catchy statement about what you specialize in or your expertise you can provide will help you to be quick on your feet when the time comes. It can be as simple as, my name is Stephanie, and I help students prepare for career opportunities.
Hey, that sounds a lot like an elevator pitch. I mean, but you're right. Preparation is so key to deliver your intended impression.
Hold on. Short,
Dr.
shameless plug. Shameless plug. Spring 2021 coming to you. Speech 1321, specifically for business people. Y'all, we're going to go on elevator speech. I'm the CEO, and you got to impress me and get a job. That's your opportunity. So back to elevator speech. Sorry.
I love Dr. G. Keep going, y'all. Keep going.
So our team at Career Services hosts personal branding events, has partnered with local retailers so students can dress to impress.
Hey, so like the suit up event coming up on October 29th at JCPenney, right?
Absolutely. And this will be our 3rd time hosting it. But for sure, we also have developed Career Readiness 101. It's a workshop for resume review, mock interviewing, and personal branding, and various other key components for our students to prepare for their next career move.
I appreciate it, Stephanie. I mean, Crystal, the opportunities are there. The support is here. The UHV is just providing all this generous effort to make sure that, everybody's going down the right road of success.
Man, well, then it's time that we put the what is the phrase? Hit the pavement? What am I trying to say here, Kyle?
That we're going to bring it to y'all. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is all about deciding about who do you want to be. So,
well, let's take them through it. So we actually even have a slide on this. Who do you want to be with humility in your heart? I'm starting a clock here. I want to know, what is something you're good at, right? We all came here with something, there we go, with rubber meets the road. Thank you so much, Dr. Colwell. And so we all came here with something that is on our hearts, that is our gift. I believe that adversity equals strength and that we have superpowers, that we bring something unique to this world. What do you bring that's unique? What's something you're good at? It could be something like painting, or it could be talking, interacting with people. It could be numbers. What is something you're good at, Kyle?
Well, I think it's all about just, I'm a good organizer, I feel like, and, that helps me just realize that, that what I want to do and helps me be clear as well. And so, this is where your skills and talents just meet up to create the work you want to perform at the highest level.
Awesome. And so then let's take it a step further. What's something you enjoy doing more than anything? So again, we're deciding who you want to be by looking at what you're good at and leading with your strengths here. So what's something you enjoy doing more than anything? Write that down right now. You are writing it down, right?
Like we said earlier, you got to write it down to help you remember it and just have that clear vision for you.
So what is something you're good at? What is something you enjoy doing? What is something people will pay you to do? What is a problem that you solve? We're just here at time, but I'm going to give you a moment because this isn't about checking a box and spending an hour with us. While we're glad you are and we're about to wrap it up, we want to make sure you get a nugget before you leave here. So get your nugget, write that down.
It's all about passion. And I want to ask a question too, to try to maybe ask it a different way.
Sure.
What kind of people do you want to help the most? Maybe that's something that can help you think outside the box and understand your passion. What are the kind of people that you feel that you could be the inspiring effort for them?
Yeah, and this is, I don't want to steal the thunder. I know Dr. D's about to bring it with his elevator pitch class and communications, and you can work with Stephanie in the Career Center to do this too. But you notice when she said her elevator pitch, it was, I help people, and she said specifically students, do this thing or overcome that thing. So if you could sum it up, what you're good at, how do you help people do something or overcome something? I inspire people to use grit and gratitude to live a life that is beyond their imagination, to reach who they're supposed to be. That's my purpose in this world, and that's why I'm here with you today. So let's assess, right? Let's assess. What's the second part of this?
Yeah, so we're definitely going to assess, and this is, what are your strengths? We heard Robert talk a lot about this, and this is an important topic, and it's all about leveraging those strengths to make others around you better. And I mean, you've got your strengths, but it does require you to sharpen them at times.
Well, yeah, it's all about Strengthsfinder, looking at what are your strengths and building upon it rather than looking at your weaknesses and trying to build those up. You just got to lead with your strengths here. So let's really look at this. When you assess your strengths, why would an employer care? You just said what you do and how you help somebody, but why would somebody care? Really take the second to write that down. What are your strengths and why somebody would care about that? What's another point, Kyle?
Yeah, go ahead and write that down because this is important. And, what tools do you have in your toolbox that are just going to help you become who you want to be? And I mean, we talked about this earlier, pre-interview about who do you want to be, and using those tools to leverage those strengths to make that happen.
This is so good. So really, we're about to start bridging the gap and taking action and moving in that direction. But at this point, you've decided how you help people and how you help them overcome. You've figured out why somebody would care. Again, I help people use grit and gratitude to live an incredible life and become the person they're intended to be to make this world a better place. That's why somebody would care, right? So really finish that statement for you. And then what tools do you have? Specifically, I use biohacks to be able to do that. And then lastly, is there something that I need to overcome or something that I need to overcome to be able to do that? I need to get over my roadblock of being on social and sharing my story, right? That's what this is about. So that's my story, but what's your story? What do you need to do? And so let's really close this gap as we're talking about things to overcome. It's time to do in the DAD method, right? We decide, we assess, now we're going to do. So I'm going to start a little clock here. And what are some of the ways that you can assess what you're doing to get to be who you're meant to be?
Yeah, it's basically about what you need to stop doing. And, Crystal, you're talking about fears and overcoming your fears. You've got to understand them. And I think it's simply by writing them down. What's crazy is when you write something down on paper, like we were talking about before, it really puts you into action. And when you write your fears down, I mean, you have a clear vision to attack them and just go after them, because that's what you need to do to transform and fuel that breakthrough that's deep inside of you.
This is so good. And so on a daily basis, I'm a strong believer you become what the 5 people you spend your most time with, the books you read, and your daily habits. If I can look at your calendar right now, I can tell you what's important in your life based on where you spend your time. I can look at your checking account and tell you what's important to you based on where you spend your money too. But let's really look at your daily habits here. What do you need to actually look in the mirror and stop doing? What's holding you back? For me, it was waking up and working first thing. I would wake up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning and start checking my email and start working. I needed to use that time to prepare my body and my mind and take my gratitude walk and be able to do yoga. So I had to stop working first thing. What's something you need to stop doing in your life so you can start doing something incredible? What's the second point of this?
Crystal, you eat yogurt at 4:30 in the morning?
No, do yoga.
Oh, dude, I thought you were yogurt. I'm like, I can go for that.
I'm talking about some warrior pose here. So yes, but what do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? Again, for starting, I need to start my day with yoga. And what I need to keep doing, I need to keep being able to spend time investing in my relationship. So answer that question. That was our icebreaker of the last one. But what do you need to stop doing, start doing, keep doing? and specifically, what can you hold yourself accountable to every single day? So we're kind of at time here. We're going to land this. Your time is special to us, and we're going to make sure we get you out of here on time. But hopefully you took the time to write this down and you got a nugget. Kyle, what are you going to say? And let's hand this back to Dr. D. Take us out.
I mean, we are so happy y'all are here. I mean, this was 100% awesome. And we're going to keep bringing these great events to y'all. So keep tuned in. I mean, seriously, breakthroughs are happening every day, and we want them to happen to you. And we know that you are the most important person, and we are here for you. So, Dr. D, what you got?
You know, as I think about this has been amazing. I'm an old man, but I reinvent myself every day. And the good thing is that we have an opportunity. As a matter of fact, if you download the resource file that's over in the chat, it's there for you. And also, too, we got to say thanks to so many people who've made this. Oh, yeah, don't forget to do the survey, because we want to find out what you need that we can help you become the best person you can be. It's great to have a breakthrough.
We literally have a meeting about the survey feedback, a whole meeting to just review it. It matters that much to us. So please take the time. It really gives us what we need.
Because like I said, we want to help you become. We want you to become the best you can be. It's great that we tell you, Dad, we tell you all these things, but we really are invested in you. Matter of fact, I stay up late at night thinking about that.
I love it.
You know what I stay up thinking about? I stay up thinking about November 10th, Diane Klein coming to the stage, American Businesswoman of the Year. Mark your calendar. She is gracing the stage for the very next event. And I believe Ms. Terry Moten is going to be interviewing her. So, hey, watch out. Get ready. It's about how to network yourself to success. So make sure you save your calendar for that.
Wait. So we've learned about intentional listening.
Yes.
Now we're learning about personal branding. And then we're going to learn about networking?
Yeah, because you got to know how to listen and know what you bring to the table before you stand in front of somebody and wow them so that you can build a career. So that's what this is about.
This is amazing.
We thought it out, y'all.
This is all about momentum creating. I mean, we want y'all to just be on fire to attack what you want to do in life. It's incredible.
Well, we thank all y'all for being here, especially the School of Business Administration, the School of Arts and Sciences, the Department of Communication, Dr. Mark Ward, all our bridge builders, all the School of Business Administration Dean's Advisory Committee. Our guest today, Robert Royer, Hunter Follett, Stephanie Tello. We are thankful for all of you, especially Crystal, especially Kyle. Hey, November 13th, I can't, that's as good as I can get. We look forward to seeing y'all on November 13th for networking. Hey, as we say, any questions, any comments, any concerns, love you, bye. And we'll see you on November 13th.
Ciao, everyone.
Bye, y'all. Breakthrough. Woo!